Women of Reddit, what's the hardest thing to explain to men? The feeling of your uterus shedding its skin inside of you. Best description I can give is to imagine something living inside of you, just between your genitalia and belly button, that is carving into you with a knife. Then also, you get bloated, you get acne, you get super emotional, and you still have to go to work. Unsolicited dick pics aren't a turn on. Thank you? I don't think most women admire dicks as much as men admire breasts. It's just not an attractive part of a male, not for me, anyway. They're very useful, but I'd rather see his face, his muscles, his legs, his butt. No, we cannot hold our period like pee. And yes, we can get anemia from a heavy period. People say you can't, but I say you can. 1. A lot of us have been raised to do most of the emotional labor around the house, which includes being privy to escalating situations by noticing even the most seemingly insignificant changes in people. This is part of why what men regard as hints that they never catch are very obvious signs to women. Also why a lot of us think our boyfriends are mad at us when they suddenly go quiet. At least that's how it was in my household. Quiet usually meant someone was about to pop off. 2. Why do women say they're fine when they're not? Because a lot of us have been raised to keep our needs to ourselves and to not be needy or a nag. Neither of the above are excuses for the situations that arise. Just possible explanations. I really enjoy reading the threads like this that ask men for their input. Both of us are victims of messed up emotional upbringings. Wife says, it doesn't reduce your manhood to ask for directions. I completely agree with her. It's so frustrating when men do that. Like, is it an ego issue or what? The feeling of being always scared. Scared at night. Scared in a one-to-one meeting with a male college who is angry. Scared of standing up against sexual harassment. Scared of being called a liar if you call somebody out on their shit or being told, it was just a joke. Scared with trod eyes in your house when you're alone. Scared of the guy on the bus talking to you while staring at anything but your face. Scared on being in a taxi or Uber alone. Just a general feeling that it's never safe. I live in a safe suburb in a relatively safe city in a relatively safe country. Yet we are always on high alert. Advice from early childhood into adulthood. Walk with a friend. Tell somebody where you are going. Carry your keys in between your fingers, etc. And that constant fear is so normalized, most of us don't recognize it as fear. Because we're taught that mature, responsible, smart women always fear for their safety. So there's almost a weird sense of security in that constant fear. Oh, and also reminding other women to be afraid means you care, not that you're an alarmist psycho. And this is normal for a lot of women. It doesn't make us sissies. We're reacting to reality. I recently experienced sexual harassment at work, and the amount of men, friends included, who say, man, I've had some shitty bosses, or, yeah, I've had some really tough times as well, has been eye-opening. They are trying to sympathize, but they can't understand that me being 65 kilograms female in a room alone with a 140 kilograms male, who happens to be my boss and who determines if I keep my job, that is getting aggressive and making sexually explicit comments about me is just something else. The intimidation worked. I quit my job. He won. Now I'm pregnant and jobless, but goddamn am I happy I didn't keep copying it. Just feel bad for the next female employee. That not all women discuss you behind your back with their friends and put you down or share your secrets. If I love you, I'm your biggest fan and want to keep the personal stuff between us only. If you shared personal things and confided to me, it stays with me. If your ex did that doesn't mean I would. You obviously mean more to me. That we're just people like you. We're not mysterious, soft creatures. We're not an endless fountain of emotional nurturing. In fact, many of us are just as bad at expressing our emotions or comforting people as you are. We have hopes, dreams, interests, strengths, and weaknesses. We don't all cry. We don't necessarily give a shit about clothes, or makeup, or decorating, or child rearing. We aren't a monolith, and we aren't all alike. We vary as individuals just like you. We too sit around doing or thinking about dumb stuff. Yes, as a kid I also built weapons out of sticks, or tried to mix household chemicals together to make them explode, or all manner of things we only attribute to boys. If you ask me what I'm thinking, there's a good chance it's some inane random bullshit about who would beat who in a fight, or what superpower I would hate to have. We're just like you, in many ways. I think this is what a lot of men on Reddit failed to understand. Women are people, not mysterious alien creatures you must find a way to conquer. If I'm crying, it's more likely because I am frustrated and angry than because I am sad. We have absolutely zero desire to clean up after you or babysit your life like you're a fucking toddler. You're grown. Clean up your crap. Manage your life. Pull your weight. Quit bitching about how much work it all is, and how it keeps you from doing the things you'd rather spend your time on. We know because we're fucking doing your share of it, and it's wasting our time that we would rather spend on other things. This, plus, don't say, I'll help, just tell me what needs to be done. You're grown. We shouldn't have to tell you to pull your weight around the house or manage your chores as if you're a child. As someone else said in another thread, I'll manage you like a child if you need it, but I don't fuck my children. What it's like for your body to betray you constantly. It's hard to explain how my body doesn't feel like mine anymore, but it bleeds and hurts and makes me emotional against my will. When I first learned this would be my reality for my entire adult life, I felt a deep devastation and betrayal, which is a feeling I don't think most men have felt. And it sometimes makes me question my sanity. Is this hormones? Real emotions issues I should pay attention to? I was depressed for weeks as a 12-year-old when I got my period. My childhood was over like that. I couldn't play the same. I was in agony every month. I was cramming giant maxi pads in my kid-size underwear and hoping my classmates didn't notice I was going to the bathroom every hour. It was the stuff of nightmares. It's incredible we survive it like we do. Not all of us are these naturally social creatures with 5 to 6 friends in a group text and a large support circle of acquaintances, family, and DM lurkers. At least some of us are alone and lack friends. I'm assuming. Maybe I'm the only loser, lol. Also, being seen as attractive does not necessarily raise your sense of self-worth. It's an odd contradiction, as we're implicitly told to look attractive from a young age, so you'd think achieving that goal would make you very happy, and in ads beautiful people all live happy lives. But to be looked at like a fuckable object doesn't make me feel good about myself. The way you look on the outside changes nothing about how you feel about yourself. It's not that time of the month every time we're feeling nervous, sad, anxious, or angry. Sometimes it was just a shit day at work. I am the only woman on my team of over 20 men. If I am only to work 9 hours of the day and have to stay for 16 hours, I get to bitch as much as they do. Also, stop talking over me or around me when you requested that I be in the meeting. You can throw that garbage right on out of here. How to unstrap the bra. I blew a friend's mind when I told her I could unclasp her bra with one hand. This was eons ago, and she called bullshit, and dared me to show her. I did. She shared her genuine astonishment with her boyfriend, who was also there at the time but in a different room. He didn't seem as pleased for some reason. I'm lesbian and no, you can't watch. Dominant behavior isn't attractive to everyone. It's actually really scary. Why I don't want to take someone else's name. My name's mine, I like it and I want to keep it. Sometimes we just want to emote and share our feelings. We don't necessarily need a solution, we just need to have someone empathize with us to make us feel more validated. Back when I was a teenage boy, I thought somebody, boy or girl, crying was a problem I needed to solve by applying logic and offering solutions. It didn't always work. Eventually I learned that sometimes the best thing you can do is simply acknowledge and validate their feelings. Don't try to tell them that things are okay, that it could always be worse. Instead, sometimes a silent hug is the best thing you can do for a friend in distress. A tight embrace, a pat on the shoulder, or even just sitting down next to somebody can mean more than any words could. Telling them that you're there for them and that you'll listen when they feel ready to share is often all somebody in distress needs, and sometimes the best way to solve their problems isn't to offer solutions, but to silently sit beside them and offer companionship and an ear to vent to as they work it through themselves. The feeling, for most of us, of being surrounded by beings who are stronger than us without even trying. This isn't to say that women can't be strong or men can't be weak. Just thinking generally, trying to explain the feeling of being by default weaker than a large portion of the people surrounding you is something I have struggled to explain to several men. As a big dude, with a small partner, Not to mention teaching middle school, I tried to always be conscious of the power dynamic of my size. But this really explains how y'all feel. I once met a famous UFC heavyweight, and it felt weird as fuck to not be the most imposing person in my vicinity. Y'all feel that constantly? That sucks ass. Liking sex doesn't make us sluts or whores. You like sex, why can't we? Women don't have a built-in emotional support system either. I see a lot of men complaining on Reddit about how boys are discouraging from showing emotion, and that's completely valid, but oftentimes it swings too far into, women are so lucky, nobody ever judges them for crying. Yes, we absolutely get judged for our feelings, usually in the form of snide comments about periods. And teenage girls especially have their feelings about everything dismissed as hormonal bullshit. Just go on any teenage sub that isn't specifically targeted at women, and you'll see something about how we really need to take mental health in adolescence more seriously, followed immediately by at least a dozen posts about how girls just fake depression for attention. What's the hardest thing to explain to men? Leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.